Have y'all heard the news what JD Vance is doing? He set up Acre Trader, which is a website where overseas entities, big conglomerates, can come in and buy these farms that are being foreclosed on right now.
That is the short story. The story that should be breaking news, but it isn't. Despite what a bombshell this is, it's actually somewhat old news that I was shocked to find out the disturbing details of today.
American people are losing their farms left and right now. And JD Vance knew this was coming.
And that video that we'll dive into more throughout this one was posted just last week on March 28th. And y'all, it led me down an unsurprising yet simultaneously shocking wormhole of just how and why perhaps JD Vance has transitioned from a Silicon Valley hillbilly entrepreneur, never Trump guy, to piggybacking off of Trump's stupidity or culpability for deteriorating America's global hegemony for the sake of our enemies, whichever you want to call it, right? For his own personal gain. And not only that, right, it's bad enough to be a greedy elitist SOB that gets off to spreading their seed in a couch cushion, allegedly. But what makes this story so much worse is that in classic venture capitalist classist prick fashion, JD Vance is enriching himself and profiting off of the suffering of others, and most egregiously, off the backbone of American agriculture, our farmers, who, let's remember, have been effed in the A by Trump's tariffs before, though last time they got billions in subsidies. But despite farmers' hopefulness that they'll get similar bailouts that they got in Trump's first administration from the problems he initially caused himself, the second time around, it seems at least our vice president has realized bailing out the farmers you're screwing over yields so much less ROI for you and your frat bros' portfolios than profiting off their farms' foreclosures and selling that sweet acreage to the highest foreign bidder. So welcome back to the Trump regime and cronies doing the bidding of our enemies and screwing over the people who put him in power. Drop a like and subscribe and comment so this video gets out there, hopefully to more people and specifically to those who need to see it. And brace yourselves, let's dive in. Now let's first remember that the last time Trump dementia diarrheaed all over American farmers, he at least had the bathroom etiquette to try to bail them out.
Today I'm also announcing that Secretary Perdue, who happens to be right next to me, handsome man, and the Department of Agriculture will be implementing a $19 billion relief program for our great farmers and ranchers as they cope with the fallout of the global pandemic. Very honored to be doing this.
Oh, sorry, silly me. That money was for COVID relief. Here's the other deficit spending for farmers for the problems we caused that I was talking about.
60 Minutes was investigating what happened to a $28 billion government bailout for farmers when the pandemic hit. Farmers and ranchers tell us that if government aid doesn't reach their small and mid-sized farms soon, it'll make it nearly impossible for American farming to stay in the family.
It's just hard, Leslie. I worry about my kids. My sons are on the farm and I worry about them all the time.
Right. The money from Trump's initial bailout for the tariffs that he imposed got so delayed that the farmers were still waiting for it when the COVID money was announced and was supposed to come through. But fast forward to today, right? Well, Trump may feel like this about his imposed tariffs.
And we're watching to see how the markets do today. But the president doesn't seem overly concerned about the markets. He defended the tariffs to reporters on Air Force One yesterday, and he blamed his predecessor for the state of the economy.
Right, it's all Joe Biden's fault, guys, okay? The tariffs that Trump imposed, the subsequent bailout that he'll need to do while farmers' land is being foreclosed and sold to other foreign countries, that's all Joe Biden's fault. But don't fret, don't worry, Trump has a master plan, right? Nothing solves the deficit like increasing the cost of imports, decreasing the profit of exports, and then also having to bail out the industries that you've subsequently screwed over through said tariffs. It's just straight up MAGA Republican math. It makes sense if you have ever had a lobotomy. But here's where things get a little suspicious, even for MAGA standards.
Website where overseas entities, big conglomerates, can come in and buy these farms that are being foreclosed on right now. Because the small farmer in America is losing everything right now. Right from farmlandgrab.org, JD Vance funded acre trader. Snoops, JD Vance owns company that sells American real estate to foreign entities. This is fucking insane. You want to talk about corrupt? Like you think JD Vance didn't know this as they cut funding to all these small farms in this country? They're foreclosing on their farms. American people are losing their farms left and right now. And JD Vance knew this was coming. Now he's got Acre Trader set up. It's a website where foreign entities can come in and buy these foreclosed farms up.
So here's where the wormhole really opens up and becomes Lisan al-Gaib-esque, right? JD Vance owns this fucking company, pardon my French, that sells American real estate to foreign investors. The question mark is unnecessary. He quite literally funded this company called Acre Trader. This article starts, some of the most pristine farmland in California can be yours, at least by proxy, in just a matter of minutes. That's the promise that Acre Trader, a company with the mission of simplifying investing in valuable U.S. farmland, makes to prospective financiers. Acre Trader is just one of many companies launched in the past decade to facilitate the sale of farmland, which has increasingly become a staple in investor portfolios. Recently, it was revealed that this includes the investment portfolio of vice presidential nominee at the time, JD Vance, the Republican senator from Ohio. Vance invested up to $65,000 in private investments in Acre Trader during his stint as a venture capitalist, according to his 2022 financial disclosure to the Senate Ethics Committee. 2022, $65,000. You know, I was thinking about, like, what do I do with my extra $65K that I just got sitting around, you know? Like, what was I supposed to do with that? First, I tried burning it. I tried giving it to charity, but then I was like, you know what? No. Let me invest in the demise of American farmers. And boy, can I tell you, the returns have been incredible. Acre Trader is part of a larger trend of the financialization of farmland. The last 2 decades have witnessed a sharp uptick in investor interest in farmland as investors seek to hedge against inflation and stock market volatility. Not that there's been a lot of that recently. And they've turned to it as a reliable bet. In recent years, bipartisan political leaders have pushed to curb foreign investments in U.S. farmland, citing the potential for a national security risk, which clearly JD Vance is like so concerned about, right? But earlier this week, the Republican-controlled House, this article is from September, by the way, passed a bill restricting citizens from China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran from purchasing U.S. farmland. And yet somehow, JD Vance gets rich by owning an app that helps investors outside of the United States snap up real estate deals, including many family farms and rental properties that are then owned by people who have never and will never see those places and who only own those places to obtain money and power in our country.
Y'all wait now? While you're all praising Elon Musk as he lies right through his fucking teeth to you and admits it. Says, we're not going to bat 1,000 every time, now are we? You people are a fucking clown show. Where's all you Republicans at that were claiming that liberals were selling all of our land to China and shit? Where are you at, dog? Where you at? Where are you at? Where you at? Where are you that were so worried about liberals selling all our land off to China? Where you at, dog?
We said it on the most recent Really American podcast, and I will continue to say it until I'm blue in the face, but the only way that what Donald Trump and JD Vance are doing makes any sense whatsoever is if it is to diminish the sovereignty, the power, the soft power, the hegemony of America on the global stage in order to set up, China or Russia as the global leader, or, as is the case here, in order to enrich the people that are at the top of the ticket. And I don't think both necessarily have to be mutually exclusive. I think those things can happen at the same time. I think they are. And I am curious to hear. I'm sorry, I know this video was long, but I really wanted to get this story out, and I hope you guys appreciated it. Let me know all your thoughts in those comments down below. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you do like these stories that are more deeper dives into stuff that's not really covered on the mainstream media, I really implore you to drop a like, to just subscribe, even a comment, whatever you need to do. You made it this far, like, might as well, right? It really helps us, like, know what to cover, and also to, like, kind of sit there and be like, oh, well, you know, I have this personal interest in this story. I think it's undercovered and I want to cover it and blah, blah, blah. And so anyway, I'm Kenny Hesse for Really American. I'll see you guys in the next one.